View of the fog, because I barely touched on it before, and the moonlight for your landscape, because we just did landscape and animation. So fog is measured in visibility, like how far you can see per feet, and you want stuff to start disappearing. You don't want anything this is gonna conceal all the crispy edges and flaws in your modeling and textures. And so you want it to look like this. This is good fog. I have another one up here where the fog is like a little bit too heavy, but still working. So you want like the fog to not be so heavy you don't see where you're going. And so this is measured in visibility, and it's used with an environmental object, and you have a distance right here and the attributes, and that's how you measure the fog and how far back you can see. That's the visibility. Okay, and so when I reduce that, you can see that I now like things start coming into focus. And so you want to like find that fine sweet spot where everything is still like kind of covered by the fog, a little hazy, a little spooky, but still you can see some details. This is an unfinished piece. I don't have any trees in here. So with this one here, after you do your landscape and your animation along the path, you want to set your gate up and go through your gate and set up your trees. And you want to make sure that you have your fog set up so that your trees are disappearing. And then we also have some moonlight that'll cast these shadows and this nighttime appearance. Nighttime is usually done in anime or graphics with blues, purples, and greens rather than like dark gray and black, which a lot of people gravitate towards. So you want to use those different colors. So let's just do it on this one again. So I will turn off the current one I have. Shut it all down. And so like I said, this one isn't finished. Like I didn't texture the house, and you can see so this is the last thing you want to have is like all this crispy crap, and it looks awful. So what you do first is let's set up a light. So you're gonna go set up a sunlight. That'll be that's gonna be your moonlight. The sun, I made it up here. First of all, it's going to be like your incandescent light. So it's going to be like a red yellow tone. You could go to sun here and go take off set light color, and then you have the ability to go back to general and pick a like more moonlight color. Okay. Which will probably, I'm going to use like in the blue range. See how that might be a little bit too saturated. All right, and now also you have a position for your sunlight right here with this latitude and longitude where you take off set light color before you go change its color. And this is how you can change the direction of the sun, because right now I believe it's behind me, so it's not really casting too much light on anything. And so what you can do is you can kind of alter the direction of the sun by changing like northwest, southwest, things like that, to try to alter the direction of the sun. I don't know what direction. I don't want to screw around with this, so I'm going to go look at the one that I already did. So let's see what I did here. I have it on southwest, so I kind of like that's what I was doing on the other one. But so you want to check your distance and then figure out, you got to fart around with it until you can get it to be just right. Oh, I forgot I turned it off, so let's turn it back on. All right, and so you want to create some neat shadows and stuff like that down here on the ground. You can see the shadows on the trees. You need that from the moonlight, and then the fog will do the rest. So when you make your sun, you're going to go over to your lights, make a sunlight, and then you're going to take offset light color. You're going to go to general. You're going to pick a color. I use the wheel to pick my color, and then you go to your different latitude and longitude to try to figure out, you know, and also a distance to try to figure out all that kind of stuff. And like if you set like color, it's going to revert back. And right now it's kind of like looking like sort of a weird thing like that. I got my shadows kind of coming in, but I don't like this color. That's better. And then I'd have to go to sun, and I kind of don't want it directly. So you got to render it to see. All right, those shadows are okay. So you got to check out your shadows and render and see what you get with your latitude, longitude. I have it on today at this time, so I could also alter the time here as well. And so you see the shadows flopped to the other side. Okay, and so like that's, I don't really like that because it's too dark. So let's try this, see what it does. That's getting there, you know. So you just have to goof around with your time, your latitude, longitude, and the distance. So these things to get the direction of the sun right, so it casts a shadow. And everybody's placement is going to be different, so I can't really tell you what one to do. You'll have to just kind of play with it. And then you want to take offset light color, go to general, and pick your sunlight. Your sunlight, when you choose a different color like blue, green, or purple, becomes more of a moonlight than a sunlight. Okay, now lastly, I'm not going to use this one because I like my other one better. Lastly, you want to do a fog environment, which I kind of touched on briefly before. So you go over to your environmental objects, you get an environment. It's pretty easy. All you got to do is go to enable fog. Don't worry about the other crap up here. And then just pick a color that's nighttime color. You know, like dark blue or purple or something. And then you got to find your visibility range. So I usually just start at 5,000 and then render it and see what that looks like. Obviously that's too far, so I need a lesser amount of visibility. We'll go down to 1,000, and depending on how big you made this thing or how small you made this thing, you may have to go in. It's slightly getting foggy. You might have to go down to like 100 or 10 or whatever, depending on the size. Hopefully it's not microscopic. Okay, obviously 100 is too little. So we'll go to like 350 and try that. And so that you just go back and forth until you figure out like your range, and then you got those shadows and everything starts coming together as a nighttime. Okay. Now, let's pretend we didn't do that other skull the other day, because that was awful. So I'm going to do a different way of doing the skull. I think today I'm just experimenting, and then I'll do like a scarecrow and redo the pumpkin here. But I think I'll do this on a separate file. So I'm going to delete that sphere, pretend you didn't see that. I'm going to stop the video, and then I'm going to do another one just for skull, scarecrow, and pumpkin, which I touched on the other day, but the skull was super lame. So I'm going to do a new one.